Okay. What is Waiting at the Door about, and why did you make it? Go for it. And we'll get questions from the audience later on.
Waiting at the Door is a glimpse into the lives of Syrian refugees. And it is essentially me and my sister and my father, we went to Jordan, and we were given the task of documenting the crisis and the stories of the refugees. And my initial intention was to try and follow one family and get one family's story, spend a week with them and get really in depth. But what ended up happening is we were taken to many different parts of Jordan, to many different camps and shelters for refugees. So instead of documenting one family, I ended up capturing the stories of over a dozen different people. But what I found to be a common narrative amongst all of them was this motif of waiting at the door. In a sense, they were all waiting for opportunity, for freedom, for autonomy, to be respected and treated like a citizen, but they didn't know when that day would come, where they could go home or be granted citizenship and the freedom to work and live. And so that experience really struck me as a powerful and eye-opening story, and I wanted to humanize the conflict and humanize their crisis by portraying what they went through on the screen in a short film. So that's Waiting at the Door.
Well done, man. Yeah, well done. Okay, food's going to come out in a minute. We'll just pause to take our dinners, and we'll be here. I was going to ask you about the guy who had a question. After the screening, some man at the back with, I think, a French accent said, what about the cancer that spread in the Middle East? I think he was calling the Arab Spring a cancer. What did you feel he was getting at? It was quite a loaded question.
Yeah, I think he got the story all wrong, personally. That's what I believe. I mean, the disease was already there. It was the dictatorships, the injustice, the oppression, the unfairness, the inequality. That was actually already there, and it has been there for decades. And what the Arab Spring was is a breath of fresh air. It is healing. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out, the way the Syrian people would have hoped, peacefully. It started off with a wave of peaceful protests. It was a peaceful revolution, and I think for many people that spirit is still strong. But unfortunately, all these different powers, different interests are manifesting in the region. But the revolution is not a cancer, and it should not be viewed as such. It is exactly what Syria needs to hopefully heal and be a prosperous and better nation overall.
But there are people in Syria who've gone, as you said, gone from outside, who are nothing to do with that Syrian revolution. For example, so-called ISIS. I don't know. Is there any support for ISIS among the Syrian people? I sense not. But there's idiots from other countries coming in and trying to take advantage of a situation that started as a revolution. And now it is, is it Ferouz didn't want to call it a civil war, but there's a proxy war going on in Syria, right?
Two things to note about that. Not only this is from firsthand knowledge, from firsthand conversations that I've had, me and my sister have had with refugees. Not only is there no support for ISIS isn't their biggest fear. Their biggest fear is the regime, is the man in the suit in power who has killed over 400,000 civilians, over 400,000 of his own people. That's an exponentially greater number than ISIS.
And who is he fighting?
He's fighting his people. I mean, he started off by sending his army to fire bullets into crowds of peaceful protesters.
But who's firing back? Because you don't kill 400,000 people without... That kind of conflict would only happen if there's a large-scale conflict. I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
No, I understand.
Some people are fighting back against him, and he's using force or excessive force or flattening neighborhoods or whatever.
I mean, the unfortunate reality of Syria is, I mean, I'm no expert, and I wouldn't want to be taken into account for what I'm saying, but my reflection on the situation is, unfortunately, the Syrian revolution has not been as united as it should have been. So there are different factions at play. Not all of them have the best interests of the Syrian people in mind. So while there is still the spirit of democracy and freedom strong within the majority of Syrian people, there are unfortunately others who have other interests, you know. And my wish and my dream and my hope for Syria is that they can come together, unite, and stand as one people against the dictatorship, against the terrorist factions, to rid them. You know, it's kind of like Benjamin Franklin said in the American Revolution, when he drew his political cartoon, and it was of a snake cut up into 13 pieces, and it said "join or die," because he knew back then if the 13 colonies did not join together and unite, they would not be able to take on the British Empire. Same way with the Syrian people, if they do not join together and unite.
Look what a great country America became.
Well,
Gonna make it great again.
I mean, yeah, maybe America.
Over here. We will stop when you get your food. I will allow for our
Can I have
food.
some fries?
Thank you.
You know, the current state of the United States notwithstanding, if you look at it from a simple perspective of revolution, it was a successful revolution against a great empire.
Yeah.
So I think the same hope could be held for Syria if they unite.
Okay.
Chow time.
Thank you so much. We're going to eat.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in. It was a quick one, but I try and do something every Sunday, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, and I hope you join me too. Thank you very much.